Dave here. How are you? And I'm watching out the corner of my eye to see how the stream is going to go, because today I'm trying it at 1280 pixels by 720, which is high def. Now, if it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, well, let me know, because I'm going to have to switch it back to the previous mode. Now, it should be okay. I'm hoping. Now, first of all, I want to see if we've got image. I want to see if we've got sound. Give me some feedback, let me know, and then we can hook straight in and I can get the show started, because I've had a busy week. Let's see how we go. I'm going to read a little bit. Okay, everyone that's jumped in before I actually said something, we had Ian's just come back from an Ireland tour, and Derek Lark, hey everybody, Wayne Jones, ready when you are. Andrew, yep, all ready to go. Let me see if we got some more content down here. Looks and sounds great here in Indiana from Steve. Turn that one off there. I get these little things pop up in the corner down the bottom. Morning everyone in Shed making drawers from Michael. Scott K, image, sound, all working. Hey John, hey Dave, good news. Hi Dave, good news, late. I don't quite get that, John. So all good from the mountains for Stuart. Arlen Roish, hold on, I'm going to try and punch this up a little bit larger here, if I can. There we go. My old eyes. Feed looks great, terrific, all clear, great, sound is good, all good. Does the image actually look any sharper than last time? Now, I've got the camera a fair bit further away from me, so that may come into play. Now, for people who haven't watched the show before, there is no real format. Even though I've got a run sheet here, it's a bit of a, say good day, a little bit of a chat. I will be doing, good news later on. Thank you so much, John. Let me know the good news later on. I will be doing a little bit of chat. We'll have a little bit of feedback from everyone there. And also, I'm going to demonstrate, headline, I'm going to demonstrate the new router base that I bought for my old Makita 3600B. Now that is a router that many people will own. I nearly retired it because it has no dust extraction. Well, Oneida, and I'll show you the thing here, Oneida have come out with this, and it's a hood, or it's a secondary base plate you put on your router, and I'll go through it. It's not a review or anything. I have never used it. I fitted it to my router, so you and I will see if it's any good. I'm going to plug my dust extractor into it. I'm going to do a round over, probably a 3/8 round over along a piece of jarrah, and I'm going to cut a dado, or a trench, whatever you want to call it, in a piece of melamine. And fingers crossed it works, because if it does, it's going to save me a few dollars having to go out and buy a router that's already got dust extraction. Although my DeBolt here, I love, but it's only a 1/4 inch shank. Oh, what do you think about this? Now, why have I done that? This is because timing to voice is great, excellent. Image sharp, excellent. I have done this because during the week I had to go down to Melbourne. So for people that don't know Australia, I'm very close to Sydney, which is in New South Wales, which is basically halfway up the east coast. Maybe a third of the way up the east coast. Queensland's pretty big, it's up above us. Melbourne, Victoria is the second bottom state of the country. Now Tasmania is an island state that hangs out below the mainland. You know, if you want to tick a Tasmanian off, you go and visit and they say, where are you from? You say Australia. Anyway, that's by the by. So Melbourne was where I went to for this training. That's where the main office for Tool Technics Australia is. Hung out there for a couple of days. Did a few other things, went to the art gallery, and I've got some things from there that might blow you away. I had no idea. I was looking for paintings, but there was all sorts of other stuff there. Met up with a few people from the channel, right? People that watch the show and are members of the Dave Stanton livestream Facebook page, and had dinner with them. That was a fantastic night. You know, they asked me questions about things that I probably wouldn't answer on here, but one of the questions that I had was, you know, how do you feel doing the stream? And I answered about 5 to 7 seconds before the show starts. I feel this kind of rush starting to come over me. It's a bit of an adrenaline buzz, I guess. So I have to be careful. I have to be very careful and just tone it down. That's why I'm doing that right now. Okay. So normally I come in, Dave here, how are you? And then by the end of the show, it's, and thank you, goodbye. All right, now let me get onto the run sheet and we'll have a bit of a look, and then I'll jump over and have a look at the chat as well. Sorry, I haven't jumped into the chat too much yet. So the old router with no dust control, new Festool products about to hit the Australian shores, and I'll talk about a few of those things that I've seen. I can't tell you everything. Sworn to secrecy on a couple of things, but you know, things that are common knowledge in other countries, yeah, I can tell you about those. Postcard, I've done a little video. It's only about 4 or 5 minutes long of my time down in Melbourne. Meet up with some of the other guys down there, which I've already told you. Hilton Bond's hand plane addiction. Now, how this guy has been bitten by a termite. I would say he can't stop doing things with wood. And it's also a massive distraction for him because his brother is not well at all, and it really is playing on him. So he goes into his workshop for solitude and just to put the outside world away, and so he can just forget the things that are happening. Now, how many of you out there get the same kind of thing? How many of you go into a workshop because it's your space, you can shut the worries of the world out and just be yourself? Well, starting to get a bit misty saying that. That's not what I intended, but it is a really good feeling. I love it. Next thing. Yellow Box Shed, John Lafferty, is giving away 2 of these sets. Now, down the bottom in the description box, or where it says show more, click that, open it up, and you will find there is a link to this competition. Now, the blue ones will be this color here. Won't be the light blue, they'll be the dark blue. Now, John's made 1 blue set and 1 yellow set because it's his business, you know, Yellow Box Shed, yellow. And these things have all sorts of beautiful things in there. See, he's got his mate M8 bolt in these little handles that he's made. You can split in the center. I've gone through these sets many, many times, but I'll tell you something. Here's something interesting. Here's his dogs. Now, I thought, let me get this up here. Painter's cap, you know, I say it looks like a little Smurf. Now, in Carbotech, I was trying to find painter's caps the other day, and I had someone else come in, not there anymore. So I thought, well, it's not really treading on anyone's feet by saying, you know, have a look at Yellow Box Shed, because they do sell painter's caps down there, or painter's caps, pyramids, whatever you want to call them, but they're done this way. Now, normally, it'd sit on there, and I thought that'd be it. It drops into the Stanton bench to be held up. But did you know, I've got to take the glasses off for this one. Did you know that inside is another hole that's 20 millimeters diameter? Locks onto there. I didn't know that. Now, I said to John, hey, wouldn't it be a good idea, buddy, if you made some more of these caps that had a 20 millimeter inside? He said, yeah, I know. I thought, I don't think he's understanding. You know, this kidney thing's got him and he's not thinking too well. But he is thinking brilliantly. And idiot features here who's getting old. And I can tell you about that as well. When I was in Melbourne, I got to tell you this. Got on a tram. Vicky and I hopped on a tram. And you know, the tram was reasonably full. And this young lady got up and offered Vicky her seat. And I thought, that's lovely. You know, it's so polite. The people in Melbourne are lovely. Very, very polite. Anyway, she hopped down there. And this guy looked up at me and he stood up. I was thinking, you prick. I'm not old. But then what happened at the airport? Oh, this is terrible. I saw a knee, so, you know, I jumped into one of the chemist shops and I bought this thing that, you know, it's this kind of elastic bandage with some straps up the side to stiffen your knee up, holds your kneecap in place, because we're doing a fair bit of walking. Pop that on. Fantastic. Going through the metal detector at the airport. Beep, beep, beep. I'd taken my belt off, all that kind of stuff. Straight through. Beep, 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 beep. And you know what the guy said to me? Do you have an artificial knee, sir? Terrible. Anyway, look, I'm gonna read the rest of this and then we'll hook in. Sorry, guys. I'm not old. I'm 17, for crying out loud. Doesn't everyone know that? I just got a very advanced beard for a 17-year-old. Okay, so I'm going to also announce the winner of the Veritas Micro Adjust Marking Gauge, and what a beautiful gift that is. You could use this, or you could wrap it with a ribbon and give it to someone for a Christmas present or a birthday present, and they would be over the moon. Now, I'll tell you a little bit later on who won. And that's thanks to Carbotech. Thank you so much, Carbotech. This is the first time they've done a little bit of a sponsorship giveaway on the show. And hopefully, if you haven't won it, you might zap in and buy one from them. Then they might turn around and say, hey, Dave, you know what? That didn't work too bad. How about we give some more stuff away on the show? That'd be great. So it's not all about salesmanship. It's all about sharing what I know and the contacts that I have. And you can pick up on that if you wish. Okay, Patreon, check out what I'm offering. This is all down in the description box. Picture of last week's Stanley level winner, chat and more if it can be squeezed in. How about we go straight to the winner? Now, this is the level on the left-hand side is the one that this person won. Now, let me see. Have I got his name? I'm sure I do. It is Arthur Crosby. So I'm going to flick this over here. There's Arthur. He says, I've received my Stanley Fat Max Spirit level, and I wanted to thank, I better throw the other picture up there, David. And I wanted to thank you and the Stanley Group for such a great prize. It is win-win watching your Sunday videos and entering your competition. I attach a photo of me wearing the gifts of Stanley hoodie, Irwin cap, and holding the Fat Max. And we'll go back to the other picture, which is there. And Arthur's sporting, this time, on the catwalk. Arthur's sporting his DeBolt t-shirt and hat. And he said, I thought I'd hold my relatively new DeBolt circular saw for this shot. I hope these are suitable for your intended use. If you need anything different, please let me know. What have we got there? Thank you for your excellent videos, and thank you and your sponsors for the splendid gifts available in the competitions. Kind regards, Arthur Crosby. Well, Arthur, that is very good. Thank you so much for entering, and anyone else who wants to enter these competitions. That's great. Now, obviously, the people that are giving me these things are after exposure for their products. I haven't got a problem with that. You don't have to buy them. You can buy them if you want. You don't have to. If you want a chance at it winning, and as I say, this week, if you are international, that's this week and next week, you can get these, and it comes in a satchel as well. Now, am I doing my presenter's hands? Do you like this? This is wonderful. Okay, so it's a satchel with a nice zip that goes around the front. Slide it in, take it out. You can carry it with you anywhere you want. You could even make a little drawer that this dropped into, and you just pick them out as you needed them. So thank you very much to John from Yellow Box Shed. And you know his condition. He's not very well, man. Now, we're not doing this as a charity. These are genuinely very, very good items. So flick him an email. I'll put a link down the bottom in the description box. Okay, well, while we're here, how about we jump into Hilton Bond's hand plane addiction? And here we go. I'm going to read a little bit as we go along. Hilton says, I just finished restoring an old SS Record 4.5 with a stay set cap iron. I've never seen one of these before. After restoring the plane and testing it, it is working a treat. And also finished restoring a Stanley 4.5. These are the two after he's done them. How good is that? I removed all the japanning off on the cap iron and 90% of the black paint. I might give it a repaint down the track. Not sure. I actually like it better the way it looks now. You've only got to try one of these once they've tuned up to know why they're so popular. There's a beautiful old plane. Oh, they're a beautiful old plane. There's no doubt about that. And these new toys, the Wood River number 62 low angle and a Wood River number 5 bench. I've just finished honing both of the blades and setting them up, and they're exceptional. They feel nice in the hand with a bit of weight behind them. I just put them to work on some stringy bark, and they are great. And that's his chisel plane. How nice is that? I want one of those. I really do want one of those things. You know, when you get to the end of something and you've got little bits of, it's just not working in the corner, and you think, oh, you know, I want to get right into the corner to get a nice sharp edge rather than trying to put a chisel in there and scrape. Or if you put a chisel, sometimes they dig in because the handle's in the way. This thing, you just pop it on, slide it along. It's beautiful. Okay. Okay, let me see. Where are we? Tram or light rail? Oh, it was tram. Paul, yes. Now, here's something. I asked some advice while I was down. This is an inside Melbourne story. I was staying at St Kilda, and I had to get over to a hotel for the dinner that we were going to have, you know, just a feed. And I said to one of the people there, now, can I just jump on the tram and it will, at the right number, it will automatically go onto the light rail and then just drop me at the pub. Yep. I said, all right, now, do I have to change at all? Oh, no, you'll have to change. So anyway, got on the tram as we left for the end of the little time down there. We jumped on this tram, and all of a sudden I looked out the window, I said to Vicky, that's the bloody hotel we had dinner at last night. Is this the light rail? They've got all sorts of different types of transport down there. It's really, really good. In the city, there's no cost. How good is that? There is a city circuit or an area, the boundary. You get on a tram, get off. Get on a tram, get off. There is no cost. I thought that was fantastic. You go further out, down to Docklands, and yes, how about we have a look at that now? I'll take you for my little trip in Melbourne. Here we go. A few days in Melbourne. There's going to be a little bit of sound in here. And this is Tool Technics Festival Training, the new building they've just done. And this is the area I had to go into. And I'm going to show you a picture of their training room. How nice is that? I love it. And there's the idea that I saw. So I thought, you know what? It's a whole lot easier. What I'm going to do with mine, oh, this is the service room as well. So if your machine's not going too well, they take it in there and fix it. And this is out on St Kilda Pier. I just saw these boards and I thought that's lovely. And this is how windy it gets down there. This is just off the pier. Massive big tree. And this is some lichen on a palm tree. Lovely architecture in some of the areas down there, you know, some very old parts. And doesn't timber fencing and gazebos make a beautiful entry. Oh, this is a gum tree of some sort, or eucalypt of some sort, I think. Maybe it's a melaleuca, but it's got these beautiful big gum nuts, is what I'd call. And they look like they've got some kind of a white mildew over the top. Oh, here's the gang down at Melbourne. This is where we had dinner. You know, it's just a few people dropped in, had a quick say good day and a bit of a chat. Now this is Southern Cross Station. Metal let across. I jumped on the elevator and got the train out, and I just walked around the room. Oh, sorry, the station. This is at Docklands. This is just beautiful architecture down there. And this is a clock. As you walk into the art gallery, this is the first thing you see. This is a video that the guy in there took, and it was 720 minutes. He stayed there for a full 12 hours, and every minute he wiped out the minute hand and redrew it, and then also every couple of minutes he would wipe out the hour hand and redraw that as well. So it looked perfect. Just an old steel box that he made up, welded up, and here he is wiping out the hour hand. What dedication to his art form. Isn't that amazing? So, took the camera down here and you can read a little bit about it, about the guy, Martin. And this is a Japanese red deer. Now it is actually a full-on animal underneath all of this artwork. It's been taxidermied or stuffed, whatever you want to call it. It's been gone over the top with resin and these glass spheres. Now that's its eye right in the middle. That's looking through a sphere straight into its eye. Now, I don't know, I didn't read all of the details as to why it was special. You can read it there. Hit pause if you want and read through. If you're watching the recording, just hit pause, read through all of the beliefs about it. This is Moses coming down from the mountain with the tablets. Now, it wasn't the painting I was showing, it was the size of that frame, which is 12 inches across. This is a massive chandelier. Now that door beside it is about 9 to 10 feet tall. That base is 3 feet wide. It's crystal. And Vicky said to me, you've got to get a picture of it. So there's her standing beside it to give you some. It was made for one of the czars. There's two of them side by side. This is a woodworking project for the beginner. What do you reckon? Just for the beginner. This is a cradle and it is so beautiful. Down below is the pumpkin coach It's all carved in. Absolutely magic, beautiful work. And this is the harpsichord from 1771. I nearly touched it, but I didn't. I touched another display and I got in trouble. A guard chased me away. But look at the beautiful work in that. The old brass hinges. That is over 300 years old. Well, nearly 300 years old. And the last picture will be of all the gang that hang out and like to play the harpsichord. Ah. Okay, back to me. What did you think of that? That's a little bit of fun. A little bit of fun down at Melbourne. It was good. I like to. It's not really holiday snaps. It was just things that I thought. I didn't show you everything I looked at, but these were the highlights, and I thought, you know, people would like to share that. I like to see things from other countries. So, isn't that fun? I enjoy it. I'm going to read a little bit here. Sorry, I'm late. Ragtie, awesome looking, restores Hilton. Yeah, Hilton's done a great job with those hand plants. Jay Parra, the Festool training room is beautiful. Brian, you get sick and tired of all the trouble going through the airports. It's fun. John, amazing work. Gerhard Hubert, well, awesome woodwork. Love the bent wood cradle. It is beautiful. Barry Doxy, a big thumbs up. Yeah, so if you want to throw some thumbs up, that'd be great. If you're liking what happens in the show, let other people know they might want to watch as well. So as I say, it's no real kind of format. It's me in a shed, my shed at home, having a bit of play, bit of talk. What we're going to do, get into a demonstration very, very soon. I'll just read a little bit more of this chat. Check on the list here. Okay, Hilton Bond, you would have been like a kid in a lolly shop, Dave. I was. Darren, very nice, Dave. Yep, okay. Let's see what we've got next. So I've done the new Festool products. Let me talk about those. I saw the Bluetooth. I played with the Bluetooth stuff. It's in Australia. What they do is they send over a tool for the test centre and just to show people so they get a heads up. So when it's released in Australia, the dealers would have, a fair bit more knowledge about how to use them. So we were going through, plugging machines in and unplugging them and using the Bluetooth control on the end of the hose. We can go onto anywhere. And there's all sorts of other Bluetooth goodies coming along that I can't tell you about quite yet. I have to ask permission. Maybe next week I'll see if they'll let me tell you. But there's an official release at the WISA show in Sydney. So if you're going to that, you'll see the whole lot done. Now, I'll give you a heads up as well. Festool is sending some of the gear up to me to have a bit of a play with. And I'm going to try and get my head around everything just using it in the workshop here. It'll be the new connectors for the 500, the Bluetooth gear. I'm sure there's some other things as well. But they're sending them up and maybe some of it I might forget to send some back. How would that be? That'd be a bit of fun. All right, so we've got the new Festool stuff. I can tell you about their new hose because I think it's common knowledge around the world. They've got a new hose coming out with a cover on the outside, and not only is it got that cover, but it is a different material underneath. It's still anti-static, but it's much more pliable. So you'll be very surprised at how it comes out. It's a beautiful hose, and if you haven't got one for your Dusty, I suggest you go and buy one because I think they're already available to buy. Okay, I'm hoping. So Festool, don't crucify me if I got that wrong. If they're not ready already, they will be very, very soon. I'm talking about 4 weeks, but I think they're already out there. What have we got next? I'm going to get my pen out and mark off as we're going through. So Festool, postcard from Melbourne, met up with everyone down there. Hilton's that. Yellow Box Shed. Patreon, I've already spoken to you about that. Picture of last week's Stanley Level winner, done that. Chat, well, we're doing that. How about we do the demonstration with this guy over here? 113 of 42 likes. 113 people watching. That's got to be close to a record. Let's see if we can get it up to 150 when I start the router up. Okay, I'm going to swing to the other camera. I think I will. There we go. Now it's going to look a little bit dark as I come over, but there we go. Can you see me now, everybody? Where's the camera? There it is. Okay, I get lost now then. All right, so I've got the camera here. It is going to be darker, but that doesn't matter. Down here, you'll be able to see what's happening. Now here is my 3600 Makita router. Now I reckon that a heap of people own one of these. Yes? See what's on the bottom? This is Oneida's retrofit baseplate. Now, it also has a little rotating cover. Can you see that? I'll come in a bit closer. Now the whole thing works. This base is 2 sections. So I think Dave would get excited about a back hose. I'll tell you what, Wade, when you touch it, you'll be very impressed. So it's a split section, and this, now the router is unplugged, can pop out. So it has 2 hoods. These are dust collectors, chip collectors on the side, and there's another one getting around here somewhere. Give me a sec. I'll see if I can find it. There it is. So it has a second one, which is deeper, and it also locks in and rotates. Oop, I'll put it in properly, David. I haven't got my glasses on, so you'll have to forgive me. Now, I'd like to thank Oneida for sending this over to me. I spotted this on the web, and I thought, you know what? There's got to be people that want this. Paul, you got one. Okay. 117 and 59. Okay, so how cool is this? So I'm hoping that my larger cutter, this is a 3/4 inch roundover. I'm hoping that it will work as well. It might, I don't know. I haven't tested it yet, but I know that this bad boy here is looking fantastic. So I'm going to put this back on, and I'm going to do a roundover live. Alex, oh dear. We've got no life, have we? So that's fitting there beautifully. How do you like that? That's amazing. Now, underneath here, I'll see if I can show you. See on this side, there's a couple of clips here. Now that's for the extractions hood. This thing, see that? It locks in on top of that. Now again, you've got to be careful that I have to be aware that I haven't got glasses on. That's clipped in. Now the good thing about it, I set it up, and it'll go on just about any router baseplate. You can see all of those patterns are great. The only thing that I'd suggest is, instead of the countersunk screws that were for my black plastic baseplate, because I had to take that off, I would get some panhead screws, because then I don't think it'd be as prone to cutting in. I think it might start to spread it. Okay, come on guys, you're watching Dave, give him some likes. Thanks, Darren. Okay, so I have found that both my 27mm Festool dust hose and my 36mm dust hose will fit. Now the 36mm, I'll get it and I'll show you what kind of a fit it is. There we go. So this is a 36mm hose, and it slides around the outside, and you can push it on and it holds. The 27 is much tighter, and that's the one that I'm going to use. I've got my back to you a bit there, but that's okay. So this is the 27. This is the one that's designed for going with their sanders and their domino. Now, I'm going to disconnect it from down there. How easy is that? It's got little clips. I love it. Now, putting it in here, this is a tight fit. And I thought to myself, I might put a bit of detergent on there to get it in properly. Bad move. bad move. Because it'll slide straight out again. So the trick is to put it in on one side and then rotate it as you force it in there. And push down with your thumb as well. See that? I'm just pushing down on the center. In it goes. And it goes to there. So it is a tight fit, be warned, but it does it. Now I'm going to slide that onto there. How cool is that? It's hanging off the back of the router. It's not getting in the way at all. Can you see all that? I know it's dark, but unlucky. You like my shirt, Beavis? Okay. 120 and 67. All right. Now, I'm going to lay it on its back. So as I say, this is all things I have to learn as I'm going along. And there's the switch on the side. So it's all going to be from this side as I do the roundover. Now, I'm going to make sure the switch is off and get my eye muffs, plug the router in. I'm not going to plug the Makita into the dust extractor because this router is, how many watts? It's a 1500 watt. This one says 1200 maximum. For the sake of demonstrating and the first time I've used it, I'm going to be a little bit savvy from the Domino one that I did the other week, and I shall plug it in to a separate power supply, and I'll turn that on in a second. Make sure. I was going to move the coffee. What do you reckon? Do you reckon I'm brave enough not to move the coffee? Just have a sip and leave it there. And for people wanting to know, today is the 3rd of June, the third day of winter for us down here in I nearly said Victoria. I enjoyed Victoria. It was fun. I'll move that out of the way. Now, I'm sorry if I haven't caught up with all of the chat. I'll start looking a little bit now. The cost, I think they're around about $35 or $40 US. I've got a link in the description box if you want to. I've put a link to Amazon, so I'm letting you know, of course, that the show will benefit if you use that link. For people in Australia, you want to use them in a hurry, I guess, because July, I think, is when they're 1st of July, the beginning of our new financial year, is when they're going to be doing the GST on everything under $1,000. So over $1,000 before, it would be subject to GST. Let me see if I've got some clamps here. Have I told you I love this drawer? I do have clamps here. There's one. Another one. On the Stanton bench. This is a bit of Jarrah. And I think you'll be able to see it from there if I start routing this way. Yep. Do I hold it down with that or not? What I might do is I might put one of John's dogs in there. Come on. Out you come. Whoa, whoa, whoa. A dog there and a dog there. Push it up against there and a clamp down that end. I had someone ask me today whether or not they needed to put the T-track in here as well in the top, or whether the holes will be fine. The holes will be fine. I like the track because it's convenience for doing a whole lot of things. One of them is for the spaces that John made up for me. I don't think that's going anywhere, guys, at all. As a matter of fact, if I'd laid it across the cushion strip, it probably would have been fine as well. Sure, there's coffee in your mug, Jesse, and it is indeed. What size router should I buy to level timber slabs for tabletops? 50mm surfacing bit. I would go at least a 1400, possibly a 2200 or 2100. 3 horses are always better because, you know, it's a little bit heavier, but not a lot heavier, Hilton. The 2200, OF 2200 from Festivals are a really, really nice louder, but it is pricey. So if you're a full-on industrial, that's the machine to get. If it's a hobby, the Triton would probably be fine. If you're wanting to be halfway between serious and hobby, probably the 1400 would be nice. I would like the Festool 1400 router. You never know, maybe further down the track I might get one. So here we go. I've got that set up. I'm going to put the eye muffs on, put the specs on first, and I think everyone's there. 38.98 for the dust shroud. Shame that in Australia Amazon will not allow access to US. Correct, John, but as I say, there's other ways around it. You could have a chat to Carl and he might be able to buy one Poor old Carl's going to get inundated now. Everyone say, buy that thing for me and post it over. You know, I have no idea how this GST ruling is going to work in the real life. All right, here we go. Pop this on. And you may not want to get it. Dust might go everywhere yet, but let's see how it goes. Glasses. Eye muffs. How cool are these? I love them. The send you one, John. Lovely. Here we go. Oh, before I start, I got in touch with Oneida and they sent that to me. I didn't pay for it. They sent it over. I've had it for about 3 weeks. I just haven't had time to get to it. I said, look, I love the look of it. Would you like me to show it on the show? They said, that'd be fantastic. Here we go. Yes, it is 1/3 cheaper than Oz. Turn that on. Dusty, you might want to turn... Hear it sucking. How cool is that? Now, you might want to turn your sound down a little bit. Just giving you a heads up. Turn her on. Beautiful. I've turned it off. I've turned it off and waiting for it to stop because I'm going to rotate the collar ever so slightly for the first time I go up to it. That's a heads up. Turn this off. Well, I'll tell you what, they just got a vote from me. That is brilliant. I've got a couple of little bits down there, but if I was to turn this router on without that on, I would have been covered from head to toe with crap. It would have been all over the place here. Now, I can count, there might be 100 odd pieces of spec that size. Can you see it? I'll come in close. See the little specks on the tip of my finger? Unbelievable. Yes, John, we'll need... So is the coffee looking like a cappuccino now? Let's have a look. Let's have a look, Ian. How good is that? And you watch. Unplug. The fitting comes off. I like it. I like it a lot. That router was going to be retired. I'd had enough. I had enough of dust going everywhere, and this is one of the most purchased routers in the world, I'd reckon. And when I went onto Oneida's site, they, I don't know, John, I'll have to check that, where the dust had come out of, went into a corner. When I went on to Oneida's site, that router was not specified, and I said to him over there, I said, look, I've no idea whether my router's going to work with it. They said, look, we'll flick you one over anyway, just to see how it goes. So there you go. If you have a 3600 BR Makita, and let me see what year this was made in Japan, this one. 22,000 RPM, model that, 6.7 amp, 60 hertz, 1500 watt, 240 volt. This is a beautiful machine. I would have bought this router when I first went out contracting for myself after being an apprentice. 74, 78, would have been about 1979. It's done a lot of work, and it still goes beautifully. Why throw something away if it still works? Now, I pulled the plug out, and I'm going to take that little cover off. How cool is this? And I might even Steven, move that down to there, that over there. Magic job. Love it. Pull these two dogs out, put them down there. As I mentioned, I love those drawers. Have a look at the video if you want to. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I'm going to move this camera over to here while I change the cutter. I'll tip it down a little to there. and you can have a bit of a squeeze while I'm doing it. So what I'm going to do is I've, as I say, unplugged. I'm going to release that so I can get to the cutter in there. It is a lovely addition to a trusty router. You know, it's one of those things. When I spot something on the web and I think, you know what, I think I'm not the only person looking for something like this. I'm sure there's going to be other people. Now, this is a trick too for undoing a router. Do it so you're squeezing it together. So I always try and put the spanners in so that they're going to work with each other. On a lot of the routers these days, it's a single-handed operation. Got it. I'm going to take this cutter out, and it just fits through the shroud. As I say, if you want to have a look, I can show you the other one. And I think it would fit, but I'd have to actually, it's going to be very hard to fit this one. I would have to pull this all the way back down there, put that in to a certain depth, then slowly release this back up to the height that I want, which would be there. And then I'd have to come up just a touch more, till it's almost touching the screen. Look, and then I can still get to the spanners. I can still get to both of them. Can you see in there? Maybe not enough light. So I can get to this one, and I can get to this one. So there's a thing that I wasn't sure of while I was doing all of this. I'll take that out, and I could put the larger shroud on because it will fit inside it. All right, so that is a 3/4 inch roundover. That's a massive cutter. Now I'm going to do a straight 1 inch dado. That's my 1 inch dado cutter. It's one of those ones that I've never used before. I bought it because I was setting up a set. Sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? But I put together a set of cutters that I thought, you know, in time I will want to use these. So 1 inch should let out a truckload. You're born in 1978, Talib. Okay. Well, we all got to hit the deck at some stage in life. You know, as I say, I wear RoboCop things. That's what Vicky was calling me the other day, RoboCop. And I said, good on you, darling. Thank you for that. Come on. In there and in there. And okay, so I don't know. Sometimes I'll use pipes, but not normally. I try and do it just by sheer grunt. Got it. All right. Now I'm going to lower that down to around about 3 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch. Can you see? I'll come it down here so you can see it against the board behind. Back the other way, David. There. I don't do big plunges. I do short ones. Alan Smith, hello everyone. New to this channel. Well, hello Alan. How are you, buddy? If you enjoy it, have some fun. We're going through a dust cover, or a, what do they call it? The Universal Router Hood Dust Free from Oneida. There it is. As I said, I'll put a link down there. It's one of my Amazon links. Grab the thing. I'm super impressed. I love it. Okay, what's the next thing? I've got the cutter in. I'm going to trench through a piece of melamine. Pop this over here for the second. And I'm going to use that bit of jarrah that I had there as the... Whoop, it doesn't like that. Let's move this away. Yeah, it was getting... the frequencies were being mucked around. Let's move that over there. Is that going to be okay? I hope so. All right. White melamine, even though it looks a bit pink here and there. And this guy here, I'm going to use as the guide. And I'm just going to put a trench anywhere. I'm not overly fussed as to where it's going to go. The router will be here, so I'll be pushing that direction. The handles won't hit that. I'm going to be using the edge of the router. Let's tip that up ever so slightly to about there. You can see me waffling on now. So I'm going to use this for the edge. The handles will be, parallel basically to the fence that I've put here. Ordinarily, I wouldn't have a fence this tall. And there's no rubbish on that fence. It's all good. I wouldn't be using the other side because, look, I had a bit of tear out. And I think I can put a clamp there and a clamp there. Have I said I love this bench? I think I may have. So I'm going to clamp the whole thing together in one go. That should be fine down there, and there, and there. Got it. The other end. Down here. Push that all up against there. It ain't going anywhere. All right, let's give this a shot. What do you reckon, guys? Are you impressed so far? I think it's magic. I love Anita's stuff. I've got their cyclones, the big cyclone and the dust deputy. That would be great on my 35-year Elo, which is still new, but a messy little thing. Well, there you go. Grab it, Stuart. That machine is older than me, and that's fine by me, Dave. Why don't you squeeze the spanners together when you tighten the collet? I could, if the flats on the actual nuts of the collet favoured themselves to do that. But if it's not lining up correctly, I can only turn the spanner one way or the other. Just to give you a quick example of what is being spoken about there. See this spanner? It has an angle that way or that way. So I can have the pair of them that way, or I can turn one the other way. Lets you get a fair bit of variation, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. And I also, I try and tighten the cutter up tighter, and I can get more force doing that using two arms rather than just using my hand to squeeze it. Undoing, it's okay squeezing, but I try and tighten it up. I do not want that cutter to break free. I want to break free. I don't want that happening. It's got to stay there and keep me safe. That's what it's all about, keeping safe. So that's why I'm using the eye muffs over my glasses, all that kind of stuff. I'll bring the router back over here. Hey, we're traveling through the show quite well today. It's 13 minutes to go. We might even finish on time. And let me know again. Great, it is a great item. I'm a CNC toolmaker by trade and write new software and want some woodworking. Good on you, Alan. I have no idea, Zane, if Carbotech will get it in. They like getting new products in, but please don't sing, Michael. Oh, come on. I enjoy singing. One show I'll just be singing, and that'll be it. I won't be any talking. I'll talk in a melodious tone. What am I going to do now? That's all good there. I need the dust extractor in the top again, and here it is. And I need it over that side. When you put it on, you can put it on either side. You can flick it. I'll pop that down there. See just here, this is the pickup. I don't know if you can see that. And it rotates a little bit, but it can't, on my router, it can't rotate past these things up here. That's the turret on mine, and also one of the bolts for holding the parallel fence on. So I could have set it up so it was on this side, and that would have been a pain. It would have been on the other side. I prefer it on the same side as I am. Does that make sense? Does anyone else feel the same way? So then I need to turn the router around this way. Lovely. Put the dusty in. Oh, happy days. Every day when the show's about to start, I keep thinking, what have I got this week? My son-in-law said to me yesterday, was another granddaughter's birthday. Son-in-law said to me, the show last week was the best you've done. I've had a couple of comments like that, and I'm very happy that people have thought that. Because going into that show, I was wondering how it was going to be, having John here instead of just being me, because it's my show, but I let John share. And John bringing to the table the problems that he's having medically, and just making public awareness of these kind of conditions, I think that's beautiful. I love to do that kind of stuff. And I will be inviting other people onto the show further down the track, not just because of medical conditions, but I have one person who has, who likes watching the show, and he has remote control aircraft. And that would be interesting. I've already had Ben Futry. Oh God, I hope that's his surname. Anyway, with Angel Care or Angel Flight, and I'd have to check. It's been so long since I've checked. Anyway, they got me rattled now. See, it's old age got me. Walking through metal detectors with my replacement knee. The show felt like it was family. Yeah, it does. I don't know. I could wrap the show. Won't be many thumbs up on... Oh dear. There you go. Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Won't be many good responses that day. Okay. Yeah, well, thank you for that as well, Carl. All right, so here we go. Let's get back to the show. I'm going to make sure... Whoop! See, now it does pop off. You've got to be careful with that. As I say, it is a tight fit, popping it in there. That's all back on again now. And back this way, and there. I was forcing it the wrong way. And the router is turned off there. Eyemuffs on, and plug the router in. These eyemuffs are something that, as you're going through life, it just becomes easier to use them. It's just a different way of putting things on. That's turned off. Good. I'll turn the Dusty on. Let's see how this goes. Make sure it doesn't come out. Okay. Beautiful. There we go. Now, that's interesting. You will see that there's a fair bit of dust came out on that one. I'll turn this off and you can have a look. Now, in all fairness to the hood, if you've used a router table, you'll know when you do a dado slot that dust shoots straight out that end. It goes through the slot. So it's very hard for that dust extractor, and that's only the little one. I know it might sound like I'm making excuses for it, but I'm just I'm thinking as I'm going here. Dust gets shot down here before it actually gets sucked up. When I was doing the roundover, pardon me, the chips were contained in that external shroud, and that worked very, very well. I think that if I hadn't been using the dust extractor, that would have been a lot worse, because I was watching. You notice I slowed down during that cut, and I started watching what was happening in that clear perspex section, or clear plastic, whatever it is, and there was a fair bit of dust coming up through there as well, but nearly just as much out there. So that's interesting. But again, I get the same thing with that one over there. That's why I've got that second dust port, which is back out here from the cutter, and it catches everything that flies out over the edge. So that would be very hard for them to fix that. And I'm guessing that if you've already got a good router with good dust extraction, that this would still happen in a trench. Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to see what other people think. You're all busy having a chat with John, are you? Well, you can't keep talking to John. This is my show, remember that. No, talk away, have a good time. Okay, 5-2. Let's get over here. We'll do the last part of the show. I won't even clean this up. That is pretty amazing for me. Here we go. We'll come back over to the other camera. And the coffee is still good. Look at that. We'll go to the other camera here. And it's way over that side. What's the story? I moved it for part of the demo. Okay, about there. A stop data, you're still going to get the same thing because as the data is going along, as you're going along through the slot, you're opening up that channel underneath and it's still going to escape. It really won't make any difference. Benfutrol, yes. I have ordered IMUFs. Hopefully they arrive next week. Carl, John, Larry, last week home, PKD affected a member of our close-knit family. Yes. Last week's, how about, yeah, I answered that one about the stop data. All right, coffee. Coffee, coffee, coffee. Is everybody enjoying the show? As I say, every week I ask that question because I throw up something new into the mix. Sometimes it'll be good, sometimes it'll be rubbish. That's life. That's life. Okay. Here we go. The competition for the Veritas Micro Adjust Marking Gauge, sponsored by Carbotech. Again, links in the description box down below where it says show all. I'm going to read through some of the things. Now, if you haven't heard your name, you're in with a chance of winning. And there's this one I made, you could enter, every day. So there's a couple of repeats. The name, it says it all, Veritas. I don't have one of these. Very nice tool. Dave, this is going to add precision to my marking out. This gauge will improve my accuracy and speed of marking. I would like to gain experience and the right tools from the experts at Carbotech. That's a sucker. Oh, well, maybe you mean it. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy. I just said, I work there a few days a week and have some fun there. My mum bought my first marking gauge. It fell apart quite quickly. I'd love to be able to replace it without feeling guilty. Oh, God, how could I not let that one win? But as I say, Rafflecopter picks it and that's done. I need all the help I can get replacing my kitchen. This tool will enhance the accuracy with which I work the projects I'm considering. While I cannot justify the purchase myself, I see value and merit of the tool. That's a good answer. That's a good answer. I'm a newbie woodworker who is trying to make do with ordinary tools. Would, bad pun, love an extraordinary tool to mark the occasion. Well, that's a nice answer too. The marking gauge I currently have is close to 40 years old. I desperately need a new one. Well, you and me, pretty much the same situation. I haven't got one. I'd like one. Because I don't have a marking gauge yet, pretty pleased, Mr. Stanton. I think that's Dr. Greg. Sorry, Greg, even though you gave me a lift home from the pub the other night, didn't happen this week, mate. If it came up on Rafflecopter, I would have said yes. But it didn't pick you. It picked someone else. Current marking gauge doesn't leave a mark, so need a good one. Because CNC and digital tools need to be supplemented with the manual. Of course they do. I have 3 woodworking problems. Marking, counting. This will fix all 4 of them. Dear. I don't have one yet. Of course, I could mark so many gauges. I don't have a marking gauge. Just starting out would be great. When your eyes get old, you need micro adjust to do the layout correctly. I'm currently using an old gauge from my grandfather and uses a bent nail as the scribe. I love it, but not very accurate. I get such a buzz out of working accurately. I'd love a Veritas marking gauge. And again, if I've read you out, you didn't win. Actually, the winner put in about 3 or 4, so I'm skipping over the ones that he put in there. I'll tell you at the end. Not many to go. I'm currently using an old gauge. Okay, got that one. I've been looking at getting one of these. If I win it, won't have to spend my money. Quite simply, I don't have a marking gauge yet. Being a senior citizen with aging eyes, it is necessary to get all the help you can with accuracy as possible. I've seen the gauge and would love to use a great piece of kit like this. I have an old timber style marking gauge and find it very awkward to use. The Veritas looks slick and shiny. Please pick me. Sharp, precise and without deviation for perfect matching of parts every time. Simply the Veritas Micro Adjust wheel marking gauge could guide and assist me. Wow, that's an intense answer. Because I am working on projects that require joinery, a Veritas marking gauge would do an awesome job of marking the joints, because I've never won anything. Don't have a marking gauge. This would be nice. Look, there's a whole heap more, and we've come to 12 o'clock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that the person who won is from Sydney, and his first name is Greg, and his second name is Begeni. Greg Begeni, you are the winner this week, buddy. Greg lives not far from me, so I'll get in touch with him. And also, Greg, if you're watching, maybe you want to flick me an email, davestantonfans@gmail.com, and we can arrange everything to get sent out to you. So Jeremy Carter, who's done all of the previous 3 weeks of competition from Stanley, Black & Decker, thank you so much, Jeremy. The support is terrific. I know that the average age of my viewers is not 20 or 25, you know, these guys like I used to be, you know, getting around on house frames. We're all getting a bit old and decrepit, but it really is nice to win something. And Jeremy, I've wiped you out of all of your 3XXL shirts. But thank you again for doing all that for us. And Carbotech, thank you so much this week for the Veritas marking gauge. That's been fantastic, and it's great to see someone from Sydney win. And next week, as I say, international, John from Yellow Box Shed is giving these away. He will post them to you anywhere in the world, just as long as it's not in Santa's workshop at the North Pole, because I don't think you'll be able to get it. The closest would be Lewi Uberg's place, and I'm sure Lewi would love to win a set of these. All right, I think that is it. I'm going to do a quick read. Quick read. Stephen Lee, thank you from Ohio. Jim Sabados, hi everyone. Talib, just give me... Ian, great show as usual, Dave. Thank you for giving us your time. Brian Shaw, horizontal shroud that clips on the side. Yes. Lost Wits, I guess I just have to hold on to my mum's broken one for a little longer. Planty 3125 great show. I live in Melbourne. If we didn't have trams, the traffic would be a nightmare. Planty, next time I'm in Melbourne, make sure that we hook up and we'll do a dinner again. I try and get down there once a year. It's always good fun to go down to the festival training and meet up with people and have a little bit more of a cruise around Melbourne. It's such a beautiful city. I love it. I love it. I love it. Congratulations, Greg. Carl, thank you for everything you do. Thank you. John, thanks again for a great show. Lost Wits, do you think Jeremy could offer a kid set? They do tools and bench range. Well, look, if Jeremy's watching, he might flick me an email. I don't know. I know it's the end of the financial year. Everyone's very, very busy trying to get things sorted. So, you know, a lot of the people that normally support me would be focused so much on trying to get everything squared away for the end of the year. Darren, great show. Thanks, Dave. Thank you. Congrats, Greg, from Brian. Peter Woolworth, congrats to the winner. Gerhard Jubert, is it? Thank you, Dave. Have a good weekend. Long weekend. Steve, another great show. Steve H. Dave, thank you for sharing your time with us. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Indeed it will. Okay, guys. I'm happy that everyone came, and you know what? It's time for me to hit this button up here. Be nice to each other. Have a great week. I'm going to have a few days down at Carbotech at the Lollyland, playing down there, and then I've got a couple of weeks I'm going to be focusing on a new arrival in my workshop. So thanks for watching. Stay safe, and I shall see you next time.